Afternoon, how are we? All right? So let me first apologise for my dulcet brummy tones. If you can't understand the words I say, they're tough, basically. I also have a propensity to speak rather quickly. This gets exacerbated when I've had several coffees, which I have. So I'll probably be finished in about 3 minutes. Right, first test is to see if I'm holding the clicker the right way round. No. Yes, there we go. So I'm talking about don't be awesome, just be all right at everything. Okay, and what I'm actually going to say is, forgot I had this here, you can only be a digital marketing superhero if you are all right at everything. So right, what I want you to do now, guys, you've just had your lunch, probably all in a food coma, just chill out. You're not going to learn anything, to be honest. It's more of a Churchillian type motivational speech where you'll basically be able to see that if an idiot like me can do all right, then you'll probably be able to do all right also. So, and if you do feel the need to look at this presentation again, then why? But secondly, you can find it on slideshare.net/Zach Edwards. So, why is it so important to be all right? Let me tell you a story. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take you back to the millennium. See what I've done there? And 1999, everybody was panicking about the impending doom that was the millennium bug. There were lots of companies like Boo.com, Lastminute.com that were being valued at gargantuan amounts of money. As John just said, my dad, Johnny E, had just sold his business. And I was like, come on, Johnny E, let's get online. We can make millions of pounds. So I borrowed a friend's office, which was not dissimilar to this. We had the idea that we was like, what's got low barrier to entry? I know we can sell gifts. Any mug can sell a mug, we thought. So we can sell gifts. Let's launch a company called Prezzybox.com. Now, what you've got to appreciate at this moment in time is we were completely winging it. We had no idea about the internet. My dad could barely turn a computer on. For example, in our first month of being in existence, we didn't realise that you could get pay-as-you-go. We didn't realise that you could get monthly internet. We thought that you could only get pay-as-you-go. So our first broadband bill was for 1,500 quid. So Johnny E's sizable wad of cash was shrinking by the day. Okay, so what you also have to appreciate is it was predominantly just on my shoulders. As I say, Johnny E wasn't that adept with the all things technological. So it was me doing everything from working with the techies and the designers to build the website, sourcing products, literally finding, we didn't even have a phone line when we borrowed our friend's office. So it was all on my shoulders. So that was the first stage of me becoming adept at doing lots of different things. So here's 6 months later, we launched the Prezzybox.com website. There you go. Look at that, guys. Glorious, isn't it, for our first homepage? What do you mean we need products on the homepage? I'm still trying to sell that in. They're not having it. So, right then, so I said, Johnny E, we've launched the site. This time next year, we'll be millionaires. Nope. So, literally, if we were to get one order a day, we'd be lucky. Which was all right because we didn't have any processes in place to deal with getting orders. So it didn't really matter. But what it did mean is that we had to then try and find ways in which we could attract people to come and buy from Prezzybox. So what you've got to, some of us, sorry, I point at you guys there, some of us elder statesmen in the, I know I look like I've got gloriously young, but I am quite old. What you'll appreciate is that in the early 2000s, it was like the Wild West on the internet. Now, by that, I don't mean that people were riding around the office on horses and there was a spittoon in the corner and people shooting each other. What I mean is that it was like a wild frontier. There were no rules, no regulations, there were no governing bodies. People didn't really share any information, not like today whereby you can, liaise with your hero on Twitter and follow them on Instagram. There was none of that. And people were very insular. They used to keep all the good bits to themselves because they didn't want anyone else to be pinching all their best ideas. So literally you had to go and find out everything by yourself, and that meant doing things by yourself and becoming adept at lots and lots of different things. So I therefore had no choice other than to be all right at everything. So let's go to the future. See, these slides had a lot of thought put into them, So let's move on to the future, and, well, technically not the future, today, so fluffed it. So let's move on to today, Prezzybox.com, where are we now? So we, on a decent day, will do somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 orders. We ship globally to over 100 countries. We partner with big brands like McDonald's on their Monopoly promotion, and O2, and lots of other famous brands. So we're doing all right, okay? So that therefore means I am a digital marketing expert. Nope. Oh, that was the slide that you were talking about. That's meant to be centre aligned. Fluffed it. Okay, so here is an interview with me from The Guardian in a few years ago, and it said, I want to be the thickest person in the room, which I very often am, to be honest. And what I've done is I've employed people who actually know what they're talking about. They're very good at what they do, and I'm not particularly adept at any one thing. I just know bits about lots of different things. So here's the crux of the matter. Why is it so important to be a jack of all trades? Well, Yoda, who obviously knows what he's talking about, says, knowledge must you have, DM to be. I was going to do a Yoda impression, but I bottled it. So there's even... So there's even posh names for this type of thing. So there are T-shaped marketers. Who's heard of that? Right, I think that's more of an aeroplane-shaped marketer, but I don't think that would go down too well. There's holistic approach to marketing, 360-degree marketing. But in essence, it's what I've been doing for years. I am a visionary. It's like just being all right at lots and lots of different things. So why is this so important? So here's the crux of the matter. Who recognises this? No one. Brilliant. I do know what I'm talking about. So this is a young lady on the left of the screen, and this is her typical journey to making a transaction on a website. So she'll go to the website using lots of different devices. She'll be on a mobile using Wi-Fi, 3G. She might be on a tablet, on a desktop. So she might be at home, she might be using a computer at a library, but all of those different devices have got different limitations. So if you don't have an understanding of how mobile works, or what the difference is between somebody shopping on a mobile and somebody shopping on a desktop, then you can't be doing your job properly as a digital marketer. Now, 65% of people start their purchasing journey on a mobile phone. 75% of people start on one device, finish on another device. 50% of people in the online fashion world buy purely on mobile. So if you're a digital marketer and you don't have a knowledge about the limitations of somebody shopping on a mobile phone, how can you do your job as effectively as if you have got some knowledge? Same with advertising. What if you work for a company, an omni-channel company, you've got shops, or people who advertise on billboards, or on futuristic televisions? So who recognises this? Hands up. Few. Good man. So this is basically all of the touch points of a customer when they make a purchase on your website. This is from Google Analytics. You should all have some knowledge of Google Analytics. Okay, so a person could come directly to your site. They could come through paid search. They could come through organic. They can be referred by an affiliate, etc., etc. If you don't have any knowledge about how these channels work, then again, you can't be doing your job as effectively as if you didn't have any knowledge. Basically, you need some knowledge of doing this, okay? So this is quite a nice slide, actually. This is how I think about attribution. So we've talked about a little bit about how sales are attributed via different devices and via different touch points in a customer journey. I think about attribution like a football team. So the striker, if we were to, when we started marketing 15 years ago, it was all about the last click. That was the only thing that was of importance. Now we have to look at the entire journey of somebody making a purchase. So we have to think, right, the old days, the last click would have been like the striker kicking the ball into the goal. Nowadays, you've got to think about the midfielder who passes the ball to the striker, or to the goalie who saves a penalty, or the defender who, I like the fact that this is the most thing that people are writing down. Think of football. So yeah, and likewise, you've got the manager, you've got the fans who come and watch the team. So think about attribution in that way. There are lots of different touch points that every customer who comes to your store to buy something will have with your brand. Right, having a rounded, holistic, 360-degree knowledge about lots and lots of different things helps you avoid silos. So who recognises this statement as being prevalent in their business? A silo mentality occurs when several departments will not share information or knowledge with others. Sound familiar? Yeah? Okay, now I think that a silo mentality occurs when people don't have any knowledge about what you do and vice versa, because then you're scared to probably look a bit thick when you're talking to the other department. Now, if they understand and have an open relationship with you and vice versa, then I think that will make a better working relationship and then will be better for your company. Right, let's talk about the dark side. Who works for an agency? Eek. Okay, who works for a non-reputable agency? Brilliant. So it's those bastards that I'm talking about. Right, so we've all heard of marketing horror stories, right? Now, if you're employing an agency to do anything from SEO to paid search to advertising to link building, if you don't know what you're talking about, how can you properly employ that agency? And I'm not talking about little companies here. There's been some massive horror stories where companies have employed agencies to do certain things, and it's really screwed them over. For example, JCPenney, massive company in America, they had a link building campaign several years ago that they were buying links, which isn't allowed. Correct, guys? So they were buying links. You're not allowed to buy links. Google don't like that. They were buying links left, right, and centre for all sorts of spurious terms that had nothing to do with what they do. And they got kicked off Google. Right, imagine that being kicked off Google. Same happened to Interflora several years ago, just before Mother's Day. Not the best timing when loads of people are wanting to buy flowers. They got kicked off Google because they were buying lots of advertorial links and weren't asking for no follow. Now that really isn't great, is it, guys? And being kicked off Google, you're going to notice that a little dip in traffic, I would suggest. Okay, who remembers this? The House of Fraser emotional promotion. Yeah, this was brilliant. So basically, House of Fraser, traditional brand, been in existence for 150 years. They've got a really traditional customer base because they're fairly old-fashioned. One day, somebody in their social team, or their social agency, I would suggest, thought it would be a good idea to just communicate in emojis with their customers on Twitter. So all of their customers are used to having very formal responses to tweets, etc. The next day, they're getting tweets in emojis, and then they start doing really weird things. So they put a tweet of Harry Styles, but with an emoji on his face. And then they said, oh no, when they realised it was going to pot, they thought, oh, we better do something about this. They claimed that they'd been hacked. And then they said, oh no, we haven't been hacked. It was an absolute horror story. And then there was this beauty. No comments required. It was either an act of unmitigated genius or a massive cock-up. Don't know which one it was. Did everyone get it? Did you need a bit more time? It should say Susan album party, which it technically does. Okay, let's talk a little bit about tech. If you don't have any knowledge about technical things, now I'm not a techie, I can do a little bit of HTML, CSS, etc. But if you don't have any technical knowledge, then really you can't do your job properly as a digital marketeer. So let's go back to this. Who recognises this type of graph? Okay, so this is a graph of our online SEO visibility. Now I was skiing in February, just before Valentine's Day, which wasn't perfect timing. Truth be told, I was on the Carsey looking at our orders, and I thought, oh, blimey, our sales have been pretty rubbish for the last couple of days, like 50% drop-off. And what had happened was our technical guys had done something, and this was on a Sunday afternoon as well. Our technical guys had done something that meant that we, all of a sudden, were no indexing any of our pages, which meant that we weren't appearing on Google for anything, which was a pretty big deal, seeing as a lot of our traffic comes through organic searches. So the fact that I had some technical knowledge, thought, yeah, we've cocked something up there. Spoke to our SEO guy who's got a lot of technical knowledge, and between us, we managed to get it fixed fairly quickly. But you can see, look, our online visibility was at about 65%. All of a sudden, it went down to about 20%. which meant that 50% of our orders were omitted overnight. So again, that just shows you that being all right at lots of different things is a benefit as opposed to a detriment. Right, okay, some of you will be employing people now. Some of you will be lucky enough to be employing people in the future. If you don't know about the role that you're employing, at least have some knowledge to make sure somebody's not mugging you off, then you can't properly employ that person. Then consequently, they're not going to be particularly well representative of you in the future. So again, having a bit of knowledge about what you do helps. How, again, another slide where it should have been in the middle. My apologies. Right, okay, research is really key. So I do lots and lots of research. And like I say, it's not like the old days when it was the Wild West. People now are willing to share lots and lots of information, be it on Twitter, on Facebook, things like this, TED Talks, YouTube channels. People will talk about people will want to share as much information as possible. So you can very quickly become very adept at lots and lots of different things. And finally, I think just keep it simple. What we do as a generalisation isn't rocket science. In essence, I'm a shopkeeper. I buy and sell products. So I think sometimes because we're digital, we have a tendency to over-egg the pudding in terms of complexity. And I think sometimes it's better not to do that. So that's it. Done. Be all right at everything. I'm Zach. If you've got any questions, feel free to shout them up now. Thank you very much. Right,
great talk, fella. Any questions out there for Zach? Any questions? Answered all of them for you?
Of course. Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Oh, brilliant.
Cheers.
Zach Edwards.
See you, mate.